All right, it is now time for the Week 8 fantasy show. This will be a pretty big one here as we will go over all the matchups from the previous week and look ahead. Before we start on the matchups for last week, obviously there was a big drama filled issue yesterday. So I'd like to talk about that for a second and get anybody's thoughts. Obviously, as I put the message in the chat yesterday, as the commissioner, I take full responsibility for that mess up in the scoring. If I obviously, when matching the ESPN scoring, I had them both pulled up and I was going through every section. The only thing I can think of is because ESPN had grouped special teams and normal defense together and Sleeper has them separate, I somehow went over the fumble recovery points on Sleeper's defense and somehow it didn't match under ESPN. Everything else was kind of right in line, like as far as on the categories, they were all like in line with each other. So, but then when we got to defense, it's not. So maybe that's how I over mistaked, did not catch that. Obviously, it's a big deal because it has now affected two matchups this season. So that's why we did the poll to see how the whole league wanted to go about either correcting it or just not correcting it. Because in my opinion, I saw both sides to why we should correct it and why we shouldn't correct it. And it is a mistake, and so therefore everybody spoke in the league and had the vote, except for the couple people that just decided not to vote. But we had a consensus after a lot of debate and talk to not change the settings, leave them as they are, because we are already halfway through the season and this was now just caught now instead of if it was week one, if somebody would have caught me and Zombies matchup week one, then maybe it could have been a different situation because it was just week one. But having 8 weeks in the books, as we already said, a lot of people had the same opinion of, it's 8 weeks in the books. It's unfair to go back and change. Everybody had the chance to look at the scoring before the season started to make sure it was good and agreed upon. However, no one does that, obviously, or else maybe somebody would have caught it. So it is on me to make sure it's all set and right, and it wasn't, so that's why it is my mistake. And I apologize to Pook for costing him this week on that matchup, but it did also cost myself. So it is kind of the one saving grace is at least it also affected me this year. So hopefully it doesn't have any more effects for the rest of the year being that close in the scoring, but this is the rules we will play for this year. And then next year we will correct it unless somebody wants to propose to leave it as it is for this year, which I don't think anybody will because that rule really doesn't make that much. That's getting a fumble recovery. Your defense should get points for that. All right. Anybody want to make any comments? Pussy, obviously you have been one of the people that have been out in
I
full
don't want to make
focus
any
yesterday.
comments.
You don't
I
want to
just
make
want to
any
be.
comments even though your team name is playing under protest.
Yeah, I will be playing under protest. That's all
So
I will
that's all
be.
you're going to say on it.
Yep.
Okay,
Hmm.
interesting. All right, anybody else want to make any comments before we move on to last week's scores? I want to get this all out in the air. That way, when we talk about these matchups, including Zombie and Pooks, it's not just hanging over secretively over the matchup.
I do think that you have people that will go with whatever you think, no matter the thing,
Okay,
whether it's a trade
okay.
or a
I will push
opinion.
back on that a little bit, but go ahead. Okay,
I
so,
think that is completely accurate.
okay. So
And I also want to
by
point out
that,
that
wait. So let me just so by that, are you trying to say that I swayed them into changing their votes, or are you just saying they saw what I
no,
voted
no,
and then
no, no.
decided to change on their
Correct.
own? Okay, because I did not sway anybody's votes. I explained what the issue was and what the vote is about, and then they
I
could
think
decide.
Flaps is the most. I don't know how to put it. I don't know if he's got something wrong or what. He just every trade, everything. He changes his mind in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Whether it's somebody talking about his own trade
Yes.
or somebody DMs him and says, "No, look at it this way. You need to do this."
Yes.
I think He's very
Well, I
fragile in
think
that
we all can
respect.
agree Slaps is definitely the most persuade person. He doesn't ever stand by his original thing. He always second guesses it, or people come in and give a
Correct.
reason he doesn't think of, which I believe he did say yesterday in the chat after thinking about it for a while. That's when he decided to change.
Yeah.
Now,
What a
part of
fucking
his reasoning of changing is a little bit flawed in my opinion, as Pook was pointing out. He's basically changing it because Pook was the one that now benefits from it, so that's why he pointed it out. I think that is the flawed part of his statement. But he did also say a reason for changing it is because it's this late in the season, and it's not fair to now go back and change the whole thing this late in the season.
I
Now,
don't know if I agree with that, but hey.
oh, I know you were one of the few that ended up staying on the yes vote. So clearly you don't. Clearly, in your
I,
opinion, you think it's fair to still change it at this point, which is a fair
correct.
argument. I'm not saying it's not, but as far as Slaps goes, he's the one I don't. He could have probably articulated why he's changing it a little bit better.
He doesn't
As
know, golfer.
Okay,
He just
he
doesn't know what
doesn't.
he's
But
doing.
he's a member in
He's
the
just
league.
not there.
Listen, every person in the
Correct.
league might not always be the smartest when it comes to certain issues. He made the final
Correct.
last year,
Yep.
so it's not like he's a complete idiot, although you think
Yeah,
he
I don't
is.
know what
But
software he's using, but
okay,
that's
Pussy,
yeah.
you're the only one that used to use
Golfer,
those
he changes
numbers.
his mind on my players and his players so quickly, it's
Yes,
unbelievable.
because he just goes off of what they've done the previous week. You need to understand when you're negotiating with Slaps, it's all about what they did the last week. That's literally it with him. He doesn't project into the future. He doesn't project backwards. It's just what happened last week. If he wins last week and his players did good, the values are sky high. If he loses last week and his players did shit and your players did good, he's trying to steal your players from you for shit
I
players
love it.
because he thinks he's trying to get a rape on you.
Hence why his roster is subpar because
Okay.
he is
Well, he's
basically
the same
gotten
record as
trade
you at the
raped.
moment, and we'll get into his matchup in a
Well,
second.
I lost
But
my job,
as
so
far as Ernie was the other one that was a little bit contested as far as an opinion that Pook and others may have had an issue with. Ernie obviously had some DMs with Rat that I received from Ernie. One of them said at the beginning, fuck Pook, vote the other way, which obviously that's not a right way to vote. I made a
We
statement when I
both were
put
at
out the
fault.
vote. I made a statement when I put out the vote saying, please do not look at the actual teams and people. Vote based off of the issue, the actual issue, not and if you think it's fair to change it or not. Not if
yeah,
you
I
think it's
think
fair to
this would
change
have
your
gone
Pook.
through. I think this would have gone through if it wasn't Pook and Zombie, or me, or me.
But it didn't affect you. What do you mean?
I'm saying if it was, let's say, Matt and Cheese
Okay.
that the results affected, I think this would have gone through.
Okay. But who is Cheese and Cheese and Matt beating that it? Or are you
No,
saying
they're
if Cheese
playing each
beat
other.
Matt?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're I mean, I don't know. I think there was definitely some people that voted biased, obviously. It's pretty obvious based off of Slaps' comments and Ernie's comments. But then I also do think at the beginning there was some people voting the other way bias based off of the trolling and aids that was happening in the chat, and then some realized, the situation and heard both sides and then decided their vote based off of that.
Rat
So,
was protesting and then changed his vote.
yes, and
Look,
I'm
His
going to
vote
go
was
to Rat
really
right
okay,
now on
I will
his
talk
cuz
about it.
he has a very interesting opinion that I'm trying to understand.
Okay, I I
I mean
will
that.
apologize for the aid, but this is what I'm gonna say. Pook had a fair claim.
Okay.
We
Yes.
did a vote. It
Yes.
did not lie in Pook's hands for the vote. So after
Okay, but I'm
that,
talking
it's
about
all
you individually. I'm not
what
talking about the vote. The vote
what.
is the vote. I'm talking about you individually. I agree, Pook had. I agree. Even though I voted no, I agree Pook had a fair argument, which is
But
why I put it to
and
a
then I
vote.
realized
But
I did not come into those ESPN rules. I am new in the league this year. I do not have to remember those old rules because I'm new to this league.
okay,
So
but
I
that
should
doesn't
just
really have
play.
anything to do
No,
with it.
yes, it does.
No, it doesn't
Because I
because
don't have to.
we
No,
told you what the
it
rule
does.
we told you what the rule was last
Yeah,
year
but
and what the rule is this year. So the issue isn't if you were in the league last year. The issue is do you think it's fair to now midway through the season change the rule to correct it to match what it was last year. That's the issue. It has nothing to
Yes.
do if you were in there or not.
I still think yes.
Then why didn't you vote yes?
I took my vote off in general
I don't.
because
I
nobody
think
wanted
you
me to vote.
changed it. I'm pretty sure you
No,
changed it to no.
I took my vote off. I did not have a vote. Everybody told me to take my vote off.
Well, who told you to take your vote off?
About 4 of you.
I feel like
Well,
we're spending too much time
who
on
was
this.
that?
I don't know. I
Okay.
forget who said it.
Well,
Look, it wasn't gonna win
that's
anyway. So.
it wasn't me, so that's pulling a little bit of a slaps there to just listen to what other people
Well,
are
I
telling you to
just
do.
didn't vote in general, so
Okay.
I
All right.
stayed out of it.
All right. Well, in my opinion, you should have kept your vote what it was if that's what you believed was the
Alright
fair
then.
thing. It had nothing to do if you were in the
Well,
league
there
or
was
not.
other people that didn't vote in general, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, a couple people, which have since then voted because I just looked and there's now 9 no votes. But okay, we will move on now. Now that we've cleared the air, anybody else? Zombie, obviously you're a big factor. Is there anything you want to say on it, or your opinions on it? Earth Zombie,
No, that's
Zombie here. No.
You think he's here? Come on.
Okay.
I mean, that guy
All right.
is.
All right.
He's
Well, we will
useless.
now go into what happened in the scores of last week's matchup. We will start with my matchup with Ernie, which is not a pretty sight, as Ernie took me a little bit behind the woodshed there, 146 to 111.
Hi-ya!
My score, I kind of predicted. I did not predict Ernie's score, scoring 146 with this lineup that I was looking at, but he did. Looking at my side, another subpar, kind of average week compared to same as last week. I scored like 111 last week and lost, and then I scored 111 this week and lost. Obviously, 111 is a score that you normally will lose if you play a good team. So 2 losses now that are kind of deserved. Obviously, last week with Pook, I could have edged it out, but didn't. I made a good trade for Gus Bus as I needed a running back with my 2 on buys, and he actually performed very well. Was probably the best player on my team last week. However, so that was a good start. However, then other players shit the bed like Ridley. Back-to-back bad games since I've acquired him. I'm going to need him to turn his shit around back to the first 3 weeks of the season if I'm going to have any chance of contending at the top.
Yikes.
But other than that, kind of just subpar. Hawkinson had a nice game, and Pickens had an okay game. But it was really Ridley that let me down. Walker did okay, but didn't get in the end zone. And Purdy had another bad game against Minnesota with Burrow on bye. I had to play him. On Ernie's side, he got touchdowns from basically everybody. McCaffrey got 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt got 2 touchdowns. Addison got 2 touchdowns. Dobbs could have had 2 touchdowns. He only got 1, but he could have easily had a second one as it went off his hands. Laporta was the only one that didn't get a touchdown on his team, and Jigba got a touchdown. If you would have told me, Ernie, this lineup before the week started would have had a total of 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 touchdowns from his position players, I would have said no fucking shot. So GG's to him. His players showed up in a week that he needed them to show up, and that's what got him the huge score. The only thing I will point out about Ernie's team is he scored 146, which is a very big score, but getting that many touchdowns from all your guys, I mean, realistically, that many touchdowns from all these guys, he should have been in the 170, 180 range, in my opinion. So he did have some guys that were mediocre despite getting all these touchdowns. So we'll see if that can continue for Ernie moving forward with that lineup, if he can keep getting the touchdowns every week. Obviously, Addison looked like a beast moving forward without Jefferson, so he probably will continue. But we'll see about Hunt and Dobbs and Jigba moving forward. But if those guys keep producing, then Ernie's team is very dangerous, and it does look like he's going to win that Jefferson trade, because now that the Vikings won last night and Kurt is staying, both big developments since I made the trade, so it looks like he will have Jefferson back in pretty soon, I would guess. So GG's to him on his victory. He was sweating it on Monday night at the start for some reason, so I don't know why, but GG's to him. Gonna win. Anybody want to make any comments on this matchup?
I will make comments.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the big thing was Metcalf being out helped JSN.
Yes?
Fucking Addison is a true baller though. With Ford having the issues, Hunt being used, that got him the 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
That Dobbs almost Almost got 2 touchdowns. That would have been. He
Yeah,
would have
he
got
only had
taken
two
down.
catches, but he made one of them a
But
touchdown,
I
and then
do
could have had
think
another one.
this match could have been closer. There was just that Ernie's team got favored with Metcalf out. Hunt being the goal line man. It was
Yeah, I
unfortunate
will. I
events.
will agree. And McCaffrey
Unfortunate
played,
events.
which he was questionable on, and I was hoping would be out, and then it
I
became clear
predicted
he
a
wasn't
tie,
going to
and this is not close to a tie.
play. Yep,
So
yep, yep. So we'll see. Like I said, moving forward, if Ernie continues to get these big performances from some of his guys. Is Zombie back yet? Hello.
probably not.
All right, great. All right, moving on to the next matchup of last week. We had Matt versus Slaps in a very tight one. Slaps pulled it out 112 to 110, kind of a
Oh,
down week for
Matt
Matt,
pulled it out.
but he gets out the
What?
victory and moves. What?
Matt pulled it. Matt
Yeah,
won.
I said Matt pulled it out.
No, you said Slaps pulled it out.
No, you're deaf.
What?
No,
I'm pretty sure I said Matt pulled it out, but we'll
no,
see
you
on the
said okay.
It
replay.
doesn't. It doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Anyways, Matt
Well,
pulled it out in a close victory. Moves to 6-1, so a big win for him to just keep on rolling and stay away from the pack of 4-3s and 3-4s. Sends Slap to 3-4. Tough one for him to take as he had a chance to get the victory. With his A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts popping off on Sunday night, gave him a chance. He needed another catch from A.J. Brown or a touch or a run for Hurts. Didn't quite get it, and Matt held on Sunday night to get the victory. So big win from him. Zombie, did I hear you come back?
Yeah.
Okay, real quickly, we did a nice long talk about the issues of the scoring, and everyone gave their thoughts. And obviously, you were one of the biggest people involved in this because both your matchups would have been affected. Would you like to make any comments on this whole thing since everybody else did?
Yeah, justice was served. Pook just wanted a free win this week.
Okay, all right,
But he lost. It was beat Pook week.
okay, all right. All right. All right. Moving on. We'll get to that one in a second. Moving on to the third matchup of last week. We said it was one of the biggest of the week, and Pussy came through with a 117 to 88 victory. A pretty easy one for Pussy. He moves to 3-4,
Let's go.
stays way out of the back of the packs, moves Zach to 1-6 now in solo last place. Not not good for Zach. Not a good week for Zach's team to show up and lay a dud. Mostert, who he traded for, we'll talk about the trade in a minute, did not benefit him as Mostert only had 6 points and also got banged up. Tua had a rough game against that Philly defense. Michael Thomas just continues to do his average 11 to 12, 13 points. Zay Flowers didn't do great. There's a lot of average. He also traded for Amari Cooper, and then Watson got hurt like first half. So that's the problem with Cooper's value is with these backup quarterbacks, he gets the targets, but half of them are horrible thrown balls, so he doesn't get the catches. So rough trade for Zach. I think Zach made this trade thinking it would help him win this week, and it did the total opposite. On Pussy's side, had a good performance from Stevenson again. Etienne just continues to ball out with another 2 touchdowns for him in another game. What is that, like 2 or 3 games in a row he's had 2 touchdowns. Christian Watson, though, Pussy's guy that he keeps calling him, rough game, only 5 points. Godwin was kind of just average. Goddard, though, continued to have a nice week with 18. Gervonta did okay. So overall, kind of mediocre from Pussy's team, but it was good enough to get 117 points and beat Zach comfortably. Pussy, your thoughts on your big win to keep you far away from the cellar at this point? And is Pussy no longer here? Okay. All right. Apparently, we'll just talk and no one will be here to listen. All right. Anybody else want to make a comment on
I
this
have
matchup?
comments.
Okay. Shut the fuck up. Philly sports are in the mud. You have nothing to say.
Shut
Oh
the
my
fuck up,
God.
Peasy. You're a Mexican and you won't make it
Comments.
back next year
Let's
either.
go
No,
Diamondbacks.
no, no, no,
Let's go
no,
Diamondbacks,
no.
baby.
Okay,
Snakes
can we?
alive.
This is
I'll
a
make a
fantasy football
comment.
show. We got time.
Zach, buyout available.
Okay.
Buyout available.
Okay.
You're finishing in last place. You'll be eating
Okay.
the one chip.
And this is not a
You
betting
make
trade
terrible
either.
trades in the one trade you've actually made.
He
GG.
just wants to
GG
shit on
fun.
Zach.
All right.
Well,
This is
it's
toxic.
deserved. It's a bad trade.
He is 1-6, and the trade he just made finally
I
didn't
think
work.
Zach traded at the wrong time and made the wrong trade.
Okay.
Zach's an idiot.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
not
how is
asking
that
for a
not?
buyout.
Wait, you just said
Whoa,
Cheese is just
whoa,
shitting
whoa.
on Zach, yet you just did the same thing.
Well, because he interrupted me first. I
Oh,
wanted to go
okay.
first.
All right. Zombie,
Then
you
Cheese.
want to say anything on this matchup?
Yeah, you hate to see Pusa get another victory. I was thinking he was gonna be in last place, but
Oh, okay.
Sadly, he won't be.
now it
That
might be
gifted you a
cheese.
fucking team.
All right. Well,
I can't.
hopefully Pussy comes back here so we can get his thoughts on this. Moving on to obviously another pretty big matchup here. Rat got a easily handed win, 163 to 119. Rats team continues to perform big time. Another week with the top scoring points of the week, moves to 5-2, looking very strong, aiming for that first place. Lineup continues. The Chiefs brothers are back. We were making some comments a few weeks ago saying, are they going to be the same as previous years? Well, these last couple weeks they have looked the same as previous years. As Mahomes got 33, Kelsey got 35. Anytime you're getting that production out of those two, it's going to be tough to beat that team. Then you throw in Tyreek Hill having a huge pop-off game as well, with 11 catches. It doesn't really matter about the rest of his lineup, even though DJ Moore and McLaurin both put over 10 points, which is all Rat really needs. James Cook had a really nice game as well. That's good to see for Rat, as he had some bad weeks. He even put in Henderson, and that worked with 13 points, with Kyron down. So very well balanced. Only probably concern from last week for Rat's team was the 49ers defense, who he traded for, did not look good against Minnesota and had -3. Tyler's side, kind of just another mediocre 119. Tyler's been around that point total about every week, and he's 2-5 now, so it hasn't got him many wins. Lamar had a huge game, but then his running backs, he made that trade for Eckler, and he has disappointed since coming back from the injured list. Tyler's got to hope that Eckler turns it around. And I mean, he only had one catch for 1 yard. When has Eckler ever done that? Especially in this PPR league, that is valuable. That's what makes Eckler so good. So one catch for 1 yard is not good, and he's not running the ball well either. So that's got to be concerning for Tyler's team. Amon-Ra, though, continues to have great games. Jacoby Myers, who is since traded, had a nice game, and he started him. Who did he start the wrong wide receiver though? No, he had London on the bench, got 11, and Hopkins on by. So I guess he started the right one because Hollywood got 7.9 and Drake London got 11. So not much of a difference. Only 4 points wouldn't have made much of a difference for Tyler, as he just faced a better team that is on cooking at the moment. So it was tough. Not much Tyler could do to beat that. Rat, I'm sure you would like to boast and talk about your team after this big victory to put you
Yeah.
to 5-2. So go ahead.
I'm sorry to Tyler for taking the woodshed.
Hmm,
I
okay.
did all this also with Breece Hall on a bye.
Okay.
Okay.
He's a valuable running back. Chain's hurt, so this could be also big in the future. But the team's
Okay.
performing the way I expected them.
All right. Yes.
Stack is it's still.
Yeah. Your team is definitely looking like one of the teams to beat at the moment. Um, if it continues like this, you will definitely be one of those that could win the title. I will say that.
Yep.
We'll see, though. Fantasy football has weird ways
It
of
does.
changing throughout the season,
Yep.
so we'll see what happens. All right, moving on to the matchup of Cheese versus Bill. This one kind of went as expected. I think a lot of people predicted Bill to get a victory this past week, and he did. 121 to 95, moves to 3-4, so a big win for Bill to stay out of that cellar-ish area. Cheese also now moves to 3-4 after getting a win the previous week, loses last week to Bill. Cheese's team, we see Jared Goff only with 9 points. Very rough game for him, as Baltimore just absolutely destroyed the Lions. The only bright spot for the Lions was Jahmyr Gibbs, who he made a trade for, lead back last week, and looked very good. Got 9 out of 10 receptions. That was kind of the good thing for the Lions getting down so much, as they just had to move the ball and try to throw the ball a bunch, and checked it out a bunch. And he got in the end zone as well. So a big game for him. Latavius Murray, who he had to start, though, that was always going to be kind of a rough one. Nakua, though, had a nice game. Ayuk kind of just average. Ingram just average. Aaron Jones continues to be a guy that Cheese wishes he never drafted, I'm sure, as he came and actually played this week, but then didn't produce. And the Lions defense was kind of the shocker of the week, giving up all those points so early on to the Ravens and just completely out of the game by halftime. -7. Ouch. On Bill's side, strong performance from Josh Allen, who he continues, well, now he calls him Josh Tannehill. He continues to call him Tannehill, but this week he performed. Jonathan Taylor looked good as well. Kamara just continues to look like a beast. Another game with 12 receptions. I continue to wonder what Zombie thinks about trading away Kamara after all these huge games in a PPR format. Keenan Allen, though, rough game only, 9.5. That was kind of the disappointment for Bills' team. Pittman had a nice game, though. Waddle, just kind of average. But overall, solid performance from Bills' team, 121, and definitely enough to get a win this week. Cheese, your comments after a rough week for your team once again.
Lions defense and the Lions let me down outside of
Yeah.
Gibbs.
Well, the only thing was you traded the 49ers, and they got -3 for the Lions, so it was only like a 4-point difference. You would have had minus either way.
Yeah, I mean, Bill had a good week. It was really frustrating because a lot of his players weren't having a good week until like the last quarter.
Yeah.
And they all decided to get a billion touchdowns. That's not fun. But there's always gonna be an uphill battle this week. And we're still 3-4, right in the hunt. We'll get them next week. Not much you can do about this.
Wait, what?
Golfers mic'd up.
Golf or die? I think we lost our host.
Hate to see that.
Hate to see zombie, buddy. Give me Swift.
What happened?
Buddy,
This person.
I'll give you Jacob.
1 for 1. Okay, don't answer.
I'll give you Jacobs, Debo,
Ew.
and Devontae Smith for CD and Kyron.
No, go fuck yourself.
Alright, sorry, my headset just died. I had to plug it in.
These comments were great.
Okay, so we got cheeses there. Alright, moving on.
They were said.
Yep, moving on to the final matchup of last week. We have Pook versus Zombie, as we already pre-hindered. Such a tight matchup, 110.10 to 110.86. Zombie picks up the big victory over Pook once again, moves to 5-2 now, so a big record there for Zombie. Basically came down to Swift on the final drive there when they were trying to kill the clock and win the game. Gets a long run for like 19 yards to bring Zombie the victory. So 2 weeks ago, Pook needed Pollard to get stopped of 5 rushing yards on the final drive, and he got that. This week, he needed Zombie Swift or Smith not to get anything on that final drive, and it didn't happen as Swift got what he needed. So big victory for Zombie. Zombie, your comments that you'd like to make after beating Pook and sending him to 3-4.
Yep, DeAndre Swift was clutch. As usual, Pook loses to me. And
Okay.
Bijan point 30.
Yeah, great job by Arthur Smith to start Bijan.
Yeah, to say he was going to play and then apparently barely played. 1 carry for 3 yards. I don't understand that at all. I don't know why, if he was sick or injured or whatever, they just didn't sit him out. I don't understand. So that was definitely a hurt. Pook's number 2 overall pick, as we have all stated many times, continues to kind of not look like the number 2 overall pick, even if he was injured this week, and they should have said that, so that way Pook could have made an adjustment. Regardless, just in previous weeks as well, he has just not leveled up. I mean, if McCaffrey is in the spot instead of Robinson, he wins. He wins easily. It doesn't even come down to the fumble or anything. So far, that is definitely hurting Pook's team this year, taking that chance on Robinson over McCaffrey. But solid performance for Zombie's team to pick up the win. Kind of low scoring in this matchup. We might have not have expected that, but it was what it was. All right, Pussy, since you missed all the recaps, we'll go real quickly back to your big win over Zach. We already talked about it.
Jeez.
What is your comments you'd like to make? I'm sure you have some after beating Zach and staying far away from the cellar.
Thank you, Zach, for letting me not get last this year. I wish you good luck the rest of the season. I hope you do not get last.
Okay.
And, yeah, good luck to you.
All right.
I hope to make a trade with you soon because
No.
your team looks actually pretty good. So.
Okay. All right. Pretty good. It didn't look good this past week, though, against you. And you were worried about that trade that he made, and that trade actually helped you win.
He traded Zay Flowers, didn't he? Yeah,
no, he didn't trade Zay Flowers. He traded away.
Oh, yeah. I'll take Zay Flowers.
We'll look at that trade here right now, actually. He traded Andrews, who popped off last week. Jacobs, who I think got in. Did he get into the end zone? I'm pretty sure he did. And then Debo, who's
Jacobs
hurt.
Jacobs was shit this week.
Oh, he was shit. Okay, but it was Andrews basically he traded away for Kittle, Mostert, and Cooper. Obviously, Cooper has no quarterbacks and can't get any catches. Mostert got banged up and did not have a good game, and then Kittle did okay, did decent, but Andrews had touchdowns and had a big performance. So that did not work for Zach this week. And you were worried
Good win
about
for me.
it,
Good win
but
for me, man.
Pusa, why are you clapping? You were literally fucking scared out of your mind.
you
for
were.
last week.
You were sad.
That
You
was-
were
Pusa,
not
you're
happy about
getting,
that trade.
Pusa, you're not getting last. Don't worry.
So, but it worked for you, pussy, to avoid. All right, so we look real quickly at the standings after last week. We have Matt, as I said, leading the way at 6-1. Very quietly, he hasn't done any real big moves. He hasn't made any real big trades, just that one with Pook. But he continues to have a strong points for and continues to knock out the wins at 6-1. So you don't have to do much when your team is rolling. We'll see if it continues. Then we have Rat and Zombie both at 5-2. Me and Ernie at 4-3, and then a whole bunch in the muck at 3-4. Bill, Slaps, Pook, Pussy, and Cheese, all in 3-4 range, all so close to those playoff spots. A couple of them, it would be Bill and Slaps that would make it if it ended today. Then we have Tyler sitting at 2-5 and Zach at 1-6. Right now, those two look like they're battling for last. We'll see if who can avoid. Obviously, they play each other this week, so that's another huge matchup for Zach and a huge matchup for Tyler to avoid that last place. All right, we'll look at the waivers here. Looking at the waivers, there was not much, only 4, so we'll go through this really quickly. Pook picked up the Miami Dolphins defense that I believe Rat, did you drop them last week, I think?
Slap.
Oh, Slaps dropped them. Okay, so he picked them up for $7. Cheese bid 2, so obviously he won the bid there. Nothing huge. Pussy got Kenrick Bourne for $6. Dropped Jeff Wilson, who he was trying to trade me last week. As he didn't do nothing. A couple bids in there, so good pickup for Pussy there if that's who he wanted to get him. I re-picked back up Tyler Boyd. I had to drop him this past week since DK Metcalf was out injured all of a sudden, and so I was able to get him back even though me and Cheese both put $0 on him. I was on the waiver priority to get him, I guess. And then Bill picks up Concade for nothing. So obviously, not too many huge bids or moves there as the waivers continue to dry up. As we all know, further in the season, they dry up and dry up and dry up. All right.
I will say something.
Yes,
Can
go
I
ahead.
say something about
Go
waivers?
Yes.
Pusa spent $32 on Jeff Wilson and
then dropped
him.
Ooh,
a week
I
later.
did not. I forgot about that. Pussy, your comments.
I need thoughts on that.
Pussy?
Pusa.
Is he no
And
longer
he left again.
here again? Jeez. If you're going to come for the show, then just actually be here for the show or don't show up. You can't just sit. You can't sit in the party and count that as you being present for the show if you're not going to be here. He was just boasting about how he's always at the show. All right. Before we get into next week's matchup, I need to take a 1-minute break. I'll be right back.
We're having issues this year.
The fuck is this, a commercial break?
Tommy, I'll give you 1 for 1.
Yeah, breaking news. Let's talk about a trade.
Buddy,
Buddy, you want Jacobs? Also, I want CeeDee Lamb. Also, I want this player. Also.
yeah, I want CD as well.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Jeez, CD and Kyron for
For
Yeah.
Debo? Why would I do that?
for Jacobs,
Who's mid?
Debo,
I don't-
Palmer,
that's-
and Mark Andrews.
No, I don't want all that. No,
And Mark Andrews.
That's such a waste. I have a perfectly fine tight end.
I don't.
Yes, Evan Engram is the tight end fucking 6. Why do I need to, come on. He puts up a solid 10 points every week. What else do I want?
I mean, you do have
more
to
than
spread
10.
the team out better. Tyrion ain't helping you down the week.
Okay, but is it worth losing Engram?
You got to get to week 12.
I will
Aaron
get
Jones
to week
ain't
12.
helping you.
I should get to week 11, actually.
Why?
Buddy, by the time that hits, your season's over.
No, I'm sorry, week 10. Week 10, Matt has no running backs, so I'm kind of bailed.
And there's no running backs either way.
Well, Pacheco is only good running backs on bye week 10.
He'll settle down.
So I get bailed a little bit.
I will claim first place this weekend.
Yeah, Matt's getting real lucky with these points again.
Yeah, I have the most points against and the most points for.
I have the second most points against. But definitely not the most points for.
Yep. I am 280 points ahead of
Oh,
you.
Nico Heischer just scored a goal.
Oh.
How many? What's Bedard at?
Like 3 or 4 points.
Yeah, I
Jeez,
told you it'd be a good.
Jeez,
It's a
what
good
if it
bet.
was? Jeez, what if it was Swift instead?
Oh, that's
Swift
a
and
good
who?
trade. Swift instead of Jacob.
No, but Swift
Good
and who?
trade.
Okay,
Swift and... Wait, we're negotiating. We'll negotiate after.
you can
That
negotiate.
intrigues me.
There was
Actually.
one thing not under waivers that I thought was a good move. Ernie picked up Pierre Strong. Obviously, he has Hunt, who is a little banged up, I believe. He did not practice. And then obviously, we know Ford is out for a while. So that was a good pickup for Ernie after the waivers that he made
And he has
earlier
Hunt,
today.
so.
I've made
Yeah,
some
and
good
he has Hunt.
pickups.
So. Okay, would you like to talk about your pickups you made?
Yeah, let's see these pickups.
I just got Logan Thomas because I need a tight end soon. That was it.
Yeah.
And Rashid
So we
Shaheed.
Can't say fucking
wasted our
name.
time on these with you.
No,
What was the point of
Olave.
picking up Julio
Okay.
Jones?
All right,
Olave
moving
plays for the
on to
Saints.
Week 8 matchups. As we see here, some big ones coming up. We will start with my matchup versus Pussy. At the moment, 3-4 versus 4-3. This is a big week for me, not only also for Pussy, I'm sure, but a big week for me as I do not want to fall back into the muck. I am dangerously close to that muck of 3-4 type guys, and if I lose this week, I will be in that muck. I've had a couple rough weeks with buys and injuries and a close defeat to Pook, and then the rough one last week with injuries. So I'm hoping now that I have a full lineup back without. I mean, DK Metcalf they are now listing as healthy, but so hopefully he'll be back this week. He would be my only real injury concern as the rest of my guys are back from bye. So at the moment, Sleeper projected me to win 118 to 104. I have Burrow coming off bye against San Francisco. Tough defense, but as we've seen with Kirk Cousins, they might be a little susceptible. So hopefully Burrow can cook in after the bye, can look very strong after a week off to get healthy. Pollard against the Rams. Kenneth Walker against Cleveland. Obviously, Cleveland has a stout defense, but they did give up a lot last week to the Colts, so maybe Seattle can capitalize on that. Calvin Ridley. Has anybody seen him the last 3 weeks? I haven't. So hopefully we finally have a Calvin Ridley sighting this week. You know, maybe they didn't need to use him the last couple weeks as Travis Etienne was running like crazy and they had leads in all these games. So hopefully this week Pittsburgh can give them a closer game. And although Pittsburgh's defense isn't horrible, hopefully they keep it close and they actually need Ridley in the third and fourth quarter and he gets some more catches and targets. He got targets like 6 last week, but he barely caught any of them. Pickens against Jacksonville at the moment possibly may put Metcalf in, although Metcalf's matchup isn't great against Cleveland. So I'll be deciding between those two on who to play. At the moment, Pickens, who is getting a lot of targets and a lot of catches, had 100 yards receiving last week, is in there at the moment. Hawkinson listed as questionable as he was banged up in the game but continued to play. I'm not too concerned about him missing since he played the whole game. Hopefully he gets a practice in either tomorrow or Friday and is good to go. Against Green Bay should be pretty decent. Jacoby Myers, newly acquired against Detroit. We didn't really talk about the trade that was made between me and Tyler yesterday. It was Myers and Pierce for Henry and Curtis Samuel.
I don't even know why you're even putting this much energy. It's gonna be an ass whooping.
An ass whooping for you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, interesting.
I'm gonna beat your
Well,
ass.
just wait a second, and then you can have your comment. I'll go to you first, pussy. Elliott against Washington and Jacksonville against Pittsburgh and Kenny Pickett. Hopefully he throws some picks. On the pussy side, the ass beating that's coming to me from Kirk Cousins against Green Bay. Obviously had a big game.
You gotta fucking remember that.
He had a big game last week. We'll see if he continues. Ramondre Stevenson against Miami. Travis Etienne against Pittsburgh. I expect Etienne, after getting 6 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks, let's see nothing this week. He's due for a 0 touchdown game.
Nope, nothing happened. That guy is not playing this week, so I will be making a trade.
Christian Watson isn't playing this week. Why is he not even listed as out or questionable or anything?
Click on his profile. Unless he practiced today. I thought he was
He
Full
Full
price
practice
practice
wins
for
for
Tillman. Wow.
I mean, you can
Oh,
still trade him if
dude.
you'd like. I mean,
Wow.
I'm not even worried about him though, so you can leave him in there.
Holy shit,
Uh,
he's playing. All
yeah.
right,
I
perfect.
mean, Romeo Dobbs got the touchdowns last week. Hopefully, Romeo Dobbs just continues to get the touchdowns. Chris Godwin, let's say questionable at the moment. He does play Thursday night, but he did practice some today, so he'll probably play. But Buffalo, hopefully Buffalo can. Buffalo needs a big win after last week's debacle against New
Baker's
England.
gonna fucking
So
bake.
let's
Godwin
hope
don't
he
have a touchdown yet this season.
Okay, well,
He's
let's hope
due.
that
He
continues
is
because
due.
I just faced a whole shit ton of touchdowns last week against Ernie. So let's hope you
Oh,
don't
and they
get any
don't
this
continue,
week.
pal.
Goddard against Washington obviously could be very good as Goddard has been on fire. I have him in JV, so
And my
even
boy
if he is it.
Javante, buddy.
And
he
the Broncos
is back.
player against the Chiefs.
He
I
is
ain't worried
back,
about that
baby.
at all because it's the Chiefs. And your
He is
kicker is
back,
also on
baby.
Thursday night. And Dallas against the Rams. Let's hope Cooper Kupp and Puka pop off against that Dallas defense who is
This is
susceptible
gonna
now to
be
the
an
pass.
absolute.
All right, Pussy, go ahead. Keep going.
I'm gonna beat you by 20 points. I'm gonna have
20
the highest
points,
scoring
okay.
week
Oh,
all
nice.
season long.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins is
So you're
gonna
going to pull
put
an
on
Ernie
display.
against me, huh?
It's gonna be a fucking shootout in that game.
Okay.
Take the over in Green Bay and Minnesota. This
Okay.
game, I'm gonna score the most points, like I said earlier,
Okay.
of the entire season.
Okay.
I'm gonna beat Golfer by 20 points. Travis Etienne's gonna again play like he's like Travis Etienne, and
Okay.
yeah, Christian
Yeah.
Watson's gonna get in the end zone. Godwin's gonna get in the end zone.
Yeah.
And my boy Dallas Goddard's gonna get in the end zone. It's gonna be a good week for me.
Okay, well, if all your guys get touchdowns, I'm going to start having some fucking horror depression because after what I got happened to me last week from Ernie's team, I really would like to win this one. So hopefully all those players do not do what you say they're going to do, and hopefully my lineup has. Obviously, I'm going to project myself to win. I'm going to hope for some standard good performances from my players that I think in a lot of areas are better than Pussy's players. And I think the only way Pussy pulls this one out against me is if his players do get those touchdowns like he is talking about from all his lineup. So hopefully it's a standard week of fantasy and no funky shit happens with some of your players getting touchdowns that don't deserve touchdowns because they're ass, Pussy. All right. Rat, who's winning this matchup?
I am taking the upset.
Ooh, okay, that's
I'm
good.
taking
Good. I don't
Pusa.
want you saying GGI won, so you can take
Oh.
Pussy. That's good.
I am taking Pusa by
Alright.
exactly 0.1.
Point
He's
one.
gonna win
Okay.
by 0.1.
Wow, not 20.
And we're
My
Nope,
boy
point-
Rat,
not-
what a pick
definitely
there.
not 20.
So,
Okay.
so
Uh,
I give it about
so
3
far.
minutes until you change your mind and take Golfer.
0.1. Pusa wins.
That was a good one.
And
Pussy.
yeah.
We all know Rat
I
will
don't
do
have to say
that.
much.
Come next week if I pull out the win next week, we'll hear on the show. Well, I did say Pussy was going to win, but then
Whoa,
I
whoa,
changed
whoa.
it, because
Whoa.
a certain player was out, so I changed.
Correct. That's how it is.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
All right, Cheese, who's winning this match?
So Pusa's not blowing you out by 20.
Okay.
That's the take I've ever heard.
We ever
That-
look at the standings?
Can you
Yes, we
shut
already
the fuck
did.
up while I'm talking? And if you want to look at the standings, you should not disappear.
Oh,
'Cause
yes.
we literally did that.
Yes, we did.
I think that the Viking Green Bay game is going to be a giant shit show.
Okay.
It's just a gut feeling. Even though I have a Green Bay player, I think
Yeah.
it's just going to be shenanigans and not
Okay.
go well for anybody.
Okay.
I don't believe in the Broncos as usual. I don't believe in Rondé Stevenson. Etienne is, we love Etienne. He's great.
Mhm.
I think Golfer is a lot more consistent, guys. Pollard will get a good game going this week. I think DK will be back. I like the Jacoby Myers pickup. He's very consistent this year.
Mhm.
So I think Golfer. I think it'll be a low-scoring affair. I think Golfer will take it home.
Okay. All right. Zombie.
Well, we got the recording or whatever, no matter what happens.
Yep.
Who said it's statement, but I don't think he's gonna score the most points. I think he's gonna score actually the least points.
Oh, okay. All right.
Damn.
Real quickly for everybody else, what is more likely to happen this week for Pussy's team? He scores the most points or he scores the least points? Rat?
The least, but somehow
Okay.
pulls out a win.
Okay. All right. Cheese?
Second least, I guess.
Least.
Okay.
100%.
All
Okay,
right.
and I
I'm
want
not
everybody
saying
to
he will
realize.
get the least. I'm saying it's more likely.
Just
than
Oh,
want
yeah,
everybody
that's
to
what I'm
realize
asking.
That last week I finished, I think, in the top 3.
You
Yeah, that's
Uh,
scored
the sample
100
size.
Okay,
Anybody
okay,
can pop off.
okay.
Wait,
yeah,
didn't you
okay,
score
really,
like
Peace,
117?
Go
Peace,
4 straight, buddy.
Peace, I have more points than you, and I'm
You should have more
higher
points
than
than me.
you
That'd be
in
kind of
division.
embarrassing if you didn't after I put up 40 in a
So
week
so
and broke a
shut your
record.
fucking mouth. You called my team pure shit a couple weeks ago.
And
I
it
mean,
is.
Your team is worse than mine.
Because I've been dealing with injuries and been forced to put in really bad
I
players.
lost my running back.
Excuses.
I lost my first round pick.
Excuses.
everybody
My
has
first round
injuries.
pick.
Excuses.
You want to bitch about injuries? That was my first round pick.
At this point of the season,
You've
everybody
also
deals with
lost.
injuries except kind of Matt. I don't know if he's really had any.
Yeah, but I've been dealing with
I
injuries
guess
since day
Justin
one.
Fields was his first.
Excuses.
Husa, do you remember when the Cardinals let Adolfo
Okay,
Garcia
well,
go for
this
free?
is not
Okay,
baseball.
we're not talking
Okay,
about
so
baseball.
we're gonna bring baseball
Okay,
into
so
this?
Zombie, finish your point. So you said Pussy scoring the least, and I'm assuming you're saying I'm winning?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good luck to you this week, Pussy. You maybe try the Ernie strat before Sunday morning hit me with the GG I won. All right, moving on to the second matchup of the week. Big one here. This is a very big one. Matt at 6-1 versus Zombie at 5-2. Zombie has a chance to knock off Matt, potentially get himself tied for first if he can pull it out. At the moment, Sleeper thinks he's pulling it out, 118 to 109. Zombie has Justin Herbert against Chicago. That should be very good on Sunday night as well. I would expect Herbert to put up big numbers there because the Chargers need wins desperately. Josh Jacobs on Monday night against Detroit also could be decent after what we saw last week against Detroit's defense. DeAndre Swift against Washington could be good. Devontae Smith against Washington as well. So he's got both of the Eagles boys. Cooper Kupp against Dallas. Mark Andrews against Arizona, that newly acquired that popped off for you last week, has a great matchup again this week. And Joshua Palmer on Sunday night against Chicago. So he's got the Herbert to Palmer connection. Hopkins in there against Seattle, who had a huge game last week with 24 big points. And Houston's defense against Carolina. Carolina is always a mess on offense, so that should be pretty good. On Matt's side, Geno Smith, the old Cam Newton against Cleveland, did not look the best these last couple weeks, and he's facing a tough Cleveland defense. But if he gets Metcalf back, maybe that'll help him. Najee Harris against Jacksonville. Najee had a great game last week. We'll see if that can continue. Jacksonville's pretty decent defense. Pacheco against Denver. Pacheco's had a great year. Diggs on Thursday night against Tampa. So he's a big Thursday night player for Matt in this matchup. He needs a strong start from Diggs, which he should get. Devontae Adams on Monday night against Detroit. So this matchup will probably come down to Monday night and Sunday night. And Njoku against Seattle. Thielen against Houston, who's been great for Matt, and Bucker against Denver, and the Rams defense against the Cowboys. Interesting choice of a defense there for Matt. I am going to take Zombie to pull off the win. It's not an upset because Sleeper's projecting him to win, but it kind of is because Matt's 6-1. I think Matt has gotten some fortunate matchups this week, including last week where he didn't score that much, but he eked out the win against Slaps. I think this week he scores around 115, 120-ish, but I think Zombie puts up about 125 to 130. I like some of his matchups a lot. I like his Chargers boys. I think Jacobs will have a good game on Monday night, and I think the Eagles boys will do pretty decent as well. So I'm going to take Zombie to win in about a 10-15 point type margin and give Matt his second loss of the season. Cheese, who's win?
It's gonna be close.
Yep.
It's gonna be a close matchup. Because Matt's been rolling. Zombie's got good matchups. Hard to root against Matt. With all his wide receivers popping off.
Yep.
And I gotta stick with Matt. On this
Okay.
one.
All right.
Pacheco has a really good matchup.
Fucking Chiefs.
I think it's gonna be close though. I think this is another close matchup. And
Yep.
it could really go either way. I just think Matt, Adam Thielen's been a god this year.
Yep.
I just think he has his high-end players are gonna.
Yeah, Matt definitely has the slight advantage with wide receivers. The only thing I will say, Zombie does have the advantage at tight end and quarterback, so that could offset kind of maybe some of his wide receivers. But,
Yeah, but Justin Herbgoat has been looking kind of ass lately.
yeah,
So.
but he's got a good matchup against Chicago. All right.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of good matchups all around.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be a very high. I think it'll be the highest scoring matchup of the week. Prediction.
Okay, good prediction there. All right, Rat, who's winning?
I am taking Zombie.
Okay, now real quickly, are you taking Zombie because you want Zombie to win so you can take over first, or are you taking Zombie because you actually think he's gonna win?
Both.
Both.
I think
Okay.
Matt
And
is
so
gonna
when
learn
do
a
you
dose
change
of.
your mind?
Can I let you ask me, Pusa? Shut the fuck up and worry about your 3-14 map. Yeah. Now,
Oh,
Wow.
I
I
think
mean, you're
Zombie
Pussy. You're
wins.
about to make
Listen,
Rat change his opinion already if you
no,
keep
and
that.
not changing my opinion. Pusa will pull off the upset.
Oh. Okay.
Zombie will win, and it will teach Matt a dose of reality that he is lacking in certain areas.
Ooh.
Yes, he
Okay.
is the God Squad of the three big-headed wide receivers,
Uh-huh.
but around that his team's pretty ass. I'm
Okay.
gonna say that.
All right. Interesting.
Yep. Yep.
All right. All right. Zombie, are you pulling off this win? Actually, sorry, Pussy. Who's winning this?
I think the fantasy gods are going to look down on this matchup and they're going to put loss on Zombie's team
Oh, as like a karma type thing, since he
as
should have two
karma.
losses.
Correct.
Okay. Interesting take there. All right. All right, Zombie, are you fighting the karma gods and pulling off this win against Matt?
yeah. I think I'm gonna win. I think my team's gonna put up a lot of points this week.
Okay.
Good luck to my boy Matt. Good luck to
Broke.
him.
He's
Good
broke.
luck
He's
to-
broke.
Okay.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, I had to say it.
But
Had to say it.
I don't think he watches Pussy, so it doesn't really matter that much, I don't think.
Zach's
His
not here
his
tonight,
team
I
name
had
is
to
a
say it.
little bit ironic, just a little bit. Just that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say at the moment.
I think that Pook is gonna be Rat, and
We are not at
I'm
that
gonna
thing
be
yet.
Matt.
Okay,
We're
we're
not
not on
there
that
yet.
matchup
We're
yet.
not
All
there
right,
yet.
just about your own.
No,
I do want to
no,
mention
you-
that
No, I'm saying he's
I
gonna
hope
lose,
Matt
and
can.
I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna be in first
First
place.
place. Okay.
Well, yeah, I just want if Matt wins the whole thing, I hope he keeps a good eye on that prize money.
He
Don't
needs it.
fall into the wrong hands.
Jesus
Jeez, we're
Christ.
not going down that route. Not yet. Not yet. All right,
Not
moving
yet.
on.
Matchup of the week.
Moving on to the next
Matchup of the
matchup.
week.
Matchup of the week, baby.
This is the matchup of the week. I will agree. Bottom of the bottom two. Once again, last week it was the bottom of the
Look
bottom
at this
two.
shit game.
And Pussy
God
pulled it
damn.
out against Zach. This week is almost, dare I say, I'm going to say it. This week is a must win for Zach. He has to win. If he
Just
doesn't
like
win,
the last 2 weeks.
I think it's some. No, last week he needed to win, but it wasn't a must win. This week is a must win for Zach. We are running out of time. We are running out of time for Zach's team. Huh? Yes. Yes. And if he wins this week, he's 2-6, and Tyler is 2-6. So he's listen. We ain't talking anymore about Zach possibly making the playoffs or Zach winning this. We are talking about him avoiding last place and the punishments that come with it. So this is a must-win for Zach, not to make a playoff run or whatever. It's a must-win for Zach to avoid last place. If he loses this week, he will be at least 2 games behind everybody else in the standings to catch somebody. And there's only what, 5 more regular season weeks after this week. So he's down 2 games after this week, and there's only 5 weeks left. And I don't think the wins are going to I don't think he's going to go 5-0 in the next 5 weeks after this. So this is a must-win to keep somebody close to him to possibly squeak out and avoid last. Last year, me and Zach battled in last, and me and him were like same record or no bigger than 1 game apart the whole season. If he's now 2 games apart of everybody else, he's in deep trouble. That's why I think it's a must-win. All right, looking at Zach, Sleeper obviously has him projected to lose pretty heavily, 109 to 122. He has Tua against New England. I don't know what to make of New England after last week, so I don't know if this will be a bounce back week for Tua or not. Mostert, who he acquired, as we already talked about, against New England as well. Who knows if we're going to get the New England that shows up and plays a scrappy type game and keeps the Miami guys low scoring, or if they go back to the first few weeks where they look like complete ass on defense. Rachaad White on Thursday night against Buffalo. He had a nice game last week. Hopefully Zach can get another good performance out of him. Michael can't guard Mike / always gets 11 points. Thomas against the Colts. We'll see if he can finally break that 12-point margin and actually have a big game. Zay Flowers against Arizona. That could be a good matchup. I like Zay Flowers a lot. Kittle, who he traded away for Andrews against Cincinnati. Kittle got a lot of targets last week. He's going to need that to continue. With no Purdy, though, that worries me with Kittle. No Purdy, that's a big
We
downgrade
have
there.
a live trade, ladies
Oh,
and gentlemen.
really? All right,
right
we'll get
now.
to
What
it.
the fuck?
We'll get to it in a
Live
second. Amari Cooper in there against Seattle. Obviously,
Oh.
that worries me a lot as well with no quarter.
Oh.
So Zach has some players with quarterback issues, which are going to downgrade these players' production potentially. Carlson against Detroit and Kansas City against Denver, that could be good. On Tyler's side, Lamar Jackson against Arizona, that could be very good. Eckler against Chicago on Sunday night. If Eckler is going to have a big game finally this year, it will be this week on Sunday night against the Bears. Henry, who he acquired from me against Atlanta. Atlanta's a little bit of a stout defense, but it is King Henry, who all he needs is one big run. Amon-Ra St. Brown on Monday night as well against the Raiders. That's a great matchup. So a couple good matchups in the evening, Sunday night and Monday night games for Tyler. Drake London in there against Tennessee. Kyle Pitts against Tennessee. So yeah, that Tennessee Atlanta game is a big game for Tyler's lineup, as he already pointed out in the chat. And Hopkins as well. So he's got 4 big guys that he needs to perform. He needs that game to be a shootout. I don't know if it will be, but he needs it. And Atlanta's defense as well. So that I'm not too sure about. If you need it to be a shootout on both sides, why are you playing the defense from one of those two? I don't know about that. But Atlanta's defense has been good, so maybe that's why. Maybe they get a turnover or something, even though it's a shootout. Obviously, I like some of Tyler's matchups better. With Zach, that trade I go back to that trade. It really hurts him. He made it because he thought it would help him for last week and possibly a couple weeks in the future, and I don't think it's helping him at all. Mostert's hurt. Who knows how much he'll play? Cooper doesn't have a fucking quarterback to throw him the ball that can actually put it where he can catch it. And Kittle now as well this week doesn't have who knows what Sam Darnold's going to do. So those are huge guys that he acquired that now all are looking very shaky for this week. And I think it's going to cost Zach. I think Tyler gets a pretty easy victory, similar to last week with Pussy. I think it's about a 20-point victory for Tyler. I don't think Zach's team gets much over the 100-point margin this week. And I think Zach's in deep trouble after this week. All right, Rat, who's winning?
Zach is pretty cocked.
Okay.
His team is just, I don't know what he traded for. I don't know the moves he made to try to redeem himself, but his team is cooked.
Yep.
Tyler's winning pretty comfortably by 20.
Okay. All right. Cheese?
I'm going to be a little easier in Zach's team than others.
Wow, that's shocking from you.
No, you're
But
fucking not. Shut the fuck and just say it.
I think I'll get around like the low hundreds mark, which is maybe higher than some of you will think. I just think Tyler has everybody healthy. He has everybody ready to go. And it's going to be a good week from his team.
Okay.
But yeah, Zach has a lot of players who get their 10 points and then don't do much else. So.
Yeah. Okay. Pussy.
This matchup is going to be good for Zach. Not in the direction of a win, not in the direction of a loss.
Oh.
But
it's going to be a tie, ladies and gentlemen. There is going to be a tie.
First tie.
Okay. I don't know if a tie
And
really
this
helps
week-
him or benefits him,
a
but
tie would be very funny though.
okay. All right. Interesting. All right. I can see why you picked the tie though, because you predicted you're rooting for him to not finish in last. So I guess the tie keeps him alive possibly but I don't think it really helps him because he's still he's like a game and a half back. I don't.
It helps him if he wasn't playing Tyler.
Well, yeah, if you got a tie from somebody else, yeah. All right, Zombie, who's winning?
I'm gonna go with. Yeah, this is a
Any
big
day.
matchup.
Yes,
'cause
huge
Zombie
matchup
traded
for last
fucking
place. It's a
Zach.
huge matchup.
This shit.
I'm gonna go with my boy Tyler.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's take a look at this live trade real quick.
Interesting.
That was
Zombie, I sent
made.
you an offer, buddy.
Oh, it's between Pussy and Pook. Okay, Deontay Johnson, whose Pook has been raving about the last week and a half, for Tajay Spears and $25 of Fab. Pussy sent. So Pook acquiring the Fab he's been wanting, I guess, or including, and
I'm
Pussy
not
gets.
sure why.
Yeah, well, apparently he wants to have the most for if some late waiver guy pops up. And
Okay,
Tajay Spears,
hope
who,
so.
if they trade Henry, could become a very, very good, valuable piece in fantasy to have. So
Correct.
I'm assuming Pook has his inside knowledge or whatever where he believes Henry is going to be traded, and therefore Spears could have a potential late game season. So I understand the trade from both sides. I think it's very fair. I'm going to create the poll though because we don't have enough in the party to
I
just get
think
this through. So,
I think Pook is worried about Bijan, so he's doing this trade.
ooh, that's a very interesting take.
I like the trade for both sides as well.
Yep.
You saw players who gets a
Pook
running
needs
back.
a running back.
Yeah, who gets a running back. And then with the
Yeah, but it's
Pusa
only
gets a solid wide receiver.
I mean, it's only a running back from like quote unquote gets a running back that they can start every week and feel confident about if Henry is out. I
Well,
mean,
he's just creating more options for himself.
yes, yeah, that's true.
And
But
I
he
don't
just-
get
Get on the bench.
I just don't get the fab. I don't know who you're buying on fab at this point.
He
Yeah.
did that for this week, but he also thinks because
Yeah,
Henry's
Henry's
gonna
gonna
get
be
traded.
gone. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense for both sides. A solid trade.
Okay, so everyone can vote on that here.
I want Fed.
Dom, you respond to my offer.
Okay, moving back to the matchups, we go on to the next one. Another big one here. Battle of 3 and 4s. Bill versus Slaps. If Slaps could pick up a win, that would vault him into a playoff position at the moment. Bill right now projected to win 121 to 112. Bill has Josh Allen against Tampa Bay on Thursday night, so big start on tomorrow for Bill's team. Jonathan Taylor against the Saints. Zach Moss might have a little injury, so that could mean a full Taylor show this week. Saints, though, a little bit of a tough defense. Kamara, who just cannot be stopped on the passing game against the Colts. He should have another feast game as the Colts are giving up a lot of plays, a lot of big plays. Waddle as well against New England. He's been looking a little better the last couple of weeks. We'll see if that continues. Pittman against the Saints as well. Dalton Kincaid, who he picked up to start this Thursday night against Tampa Bay. So he's hoping for that Josh Allen to Kincaid chemistry on Thursday night. Keenan Allen against Chicago on Sunday night could be a good matchup. Allen had a bad game last week, so you expect a bounce back from him in that matchup. Folk against Atlanta, and Baltimore's defense against Arizona is a very good matchup. On Slaps' side is Eagle Boys. Hurts against Washington. Last time they played a couple weeks ago, it was a back and forth kind of shootout game, so I think Slaps is hoping for that same type of matchup this week. Robinson against the Eagles as well. Mixon against the 49ers is a little bit rough, but we'll see if Mixon can have a big game and surprise some people. Kirk against Pittsburgh. Brown, as we said, against Washington. Ferguson against the Rams. Garrett Wilson in there in the flex against the Giants. Giants defense has looked a little bit respectable the last couple weeks. We'll see in this Jets-Giants game if it actually is an entertaining, good fantasy matchup or if it's a fantasy hell matchup. Cameron Dicker against Cameron on Sunday night against Chicago, and the Chargers defense against Chicago as well. So a lot of Chargers players in that matchup against the Bears. I'm going to predict Bill wins. I think Bill's team is just better than Slaps's. I don't like a couple of Slaps's matchups with. I do not believe that Giants-Jets game is going to be any type of offensive shootout. I think it's going to be kind of an ugly, low-scoring game. So I don't know about Garrett Wilson. Maybe he can get some targets at least and get some catches. Mixon as well. I think the 49ers, even though they're down a quarterback, I think that's on their defense then to step up after that debacle against the Vikings. Down a quarterback in Purdy, I think the defense is going to try to show out against the Bengals. I don't know, though, if the Bengals can run the ball with that offensive line, so I don't know about that. I just like Bill's players and his matchups a lot better this week, so I'm going to take Bill to get a pretty easy win this week against Slaps. Cheese, who's winning?
I'm with you on the Bill train.
Okay.
Now that everybody's healthy and scam Pusa for Taylor.
Oof.
His running backs are incredibly solid.
Okay.
Wide receivers incredibly solid. All around really good.
Yep.
He's even got Musgrave. He's got a really good bench too. Flaps has been respectable this year, I would say, with what he's got, but I
Yep.
really hate his running backs. So
It was interesting that he was shopping the Eagle Boys this week when the Eagle Boys are really what leads his team every week.
He
So
needs
it's interesting.
I
I
don't
mean,
know. I
obviously
would've-
put a very high price, which
He
he
should have just
probably
shopped one
should.
of them.
But
It's not that hard.
well, that's what I tried to tell him, and I tried to get AJ Brown, but
Trade
it
one of
didn't
them for
work
a
out.
running back. It's not his running backs are not great.
Well, he needs
I don't
Mixon
think
to start showing up. but
Mixon is not
that
going to show
hasn't.
because Mixon is terrible at football.
I don't know if he's terrible at football. I think the big part of that is the Bengals' offensive line is terrible.
Well, yeah, for 6 weeks he's shown nothing, so I don't think he'll
There ain't much running
against
room.
against the Niners.
Okay.
So
So you're taking Bill.
I'm
All
taking
right.
Bill a
Rat.
comfortable win.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Bill comfortable win.
Okay.
He's got the boys to show up. Slaps. I'm gonna say live on air. I declined the trade, and we're not gonna be able to find a trade this week. Sorry for
Okay.
your loss this week,
Oop.
buddy.
Okay. Pussy.
It's not Slaps. Slaps has no idea what he's doing. Bill is going to take this victory by a whopping. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Oh, we're ready.
This is going to be a immediate change of scenery for Slaps. Slaps is going to lose by 50.
Oh
It is
my
going
God.
to completely
Okay.
blow on a fire
With the
sale.
nuke?
It's possible.
Okay.
It's
All
very
right.
possible.
Interesting. That's a big prediction there from you, Pussy. You've had a lot of those this week. You're a little fired up
He's
after that win
going to
against
lose
Zach last
by
week.
50.
Okay. I heard you the first time. All right. Zombie.
I didn't hear you.
I got my boy Bill.
Okay, so clean sweep for Bill in this one. We'll see if Slaps can pull off the upset. All right, this trade has 7, so this will be approved here. All right.
Bam, baby! Boom!
Okay, would you like to make some comments live now that it's been? You obviously are very happy and excited. Your comments on this?
I needed a wide receiver so bad. I
Okay.
didn't think anybody had any interest in Tajay Spears. I thought that would, start
Oh,
to
I had
increase as
interest in him last week.
time in him. Yeah, but you didn't offer me the right type of player. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, if I can remember, who did you in fact offer for him?
I mean,
Curtis
it
Samuel.
was him and Jeff Wilson together, which you have since dropped. So for
Jeff
Gus
Wilson,
Bus,
shit.
it was Gus Bus and like either Curtis Samuel or
Jeff Wilson.
Jameson Williams. I think you wanted him, but it was kind of all just mediocre and ass. So at least you got Deontay Johnson. Too bad it's Pickens' team, buddy. So good luck with that.
Okay.
Pickens is
All
the
right,
young
good luck with
stud,
that.
and
Yep, okay.
Deontay just gets
Another
some targets.
matchup of the week.
So.
This is always fun.
Okay. All right. Moving on to
No, you
the
don't
next
listen.
matchup. We have Cheese versus Ernie. Ooh, it's always good when
Oh.
Cheese battles Ernie. Obviously, Ernie, as he has done the past couple weeks, making a statement to annex anybody that trades with Cheese. Obviously, Rat traded with me last week after Ernie made that, and Ernie was upset because Gus Bus popped off. However, Ernie still got the win, so I'm sure he's over that. We'll see if anybody makes any trades with Cheese to help him. At the moment, Cheese doesn't need it according to Sleeper. 118 to 111 for Cheese to pick up a win. He's got Jared Goff against the Raiders on Monday night. That should be a pretty good matchup for him to have a big bounce back game from Goff. It's going to come down to Monday night probably with Cheese's matchup as he's got two big players, Gibbs and Goff. Aaron Jones, assuming he plays and is good against Minnesota. I don't know what to expect from that, so we'll see. Puka Nacua after his big game against the Cowboys. We'll see if it's a Cup or Nacua game. CeeDee Lamb against the Rams as well, so that Rams Cowboys game, big one for him and his wide receivers. Evan Ingram against Pittsburgh. Brandon Ayuk against Cincinnati. I don't love it now that there's no Purdy. We'll see how Sam Darnold can do if he can maybe just get a bunch of checkdowns. But Debo's is still out, so maybe Ayuk can still do good. McManus and the Detroit defense against those Raiders on Monday night, looking for a bounce back after that pitiful defensive performance last week. On Ernie's side, he's got Trevor Lawrence against Pittsburgh, McCaffrey in there against Cincinnati, Kareem Hunt, assuming he's good to go, against Seattle, Jordan Addison after his huge game against Green Bay, Dobbs against Minnesota, Laporta on Monday night. So they both have Monday night players, so this could come down to a Monday night sweat. Deontay Foreman in there after his big game in the flex against the Chargers on Sunday night. We'll see if he keeps popping off or if Roshan Johnson makes it back to the field. We'll see if Ernie keeps him in if he does. Who's his other options? Pierce Strong, Odell,
Pat Zeke.
and Jigba against Cleveland well, it looks like Metcalf's going to be back. He does have Zeke, yeah. I don't know. Some rough fluck options. We'll see if Ernie chooses the right one. Tucker against Arizona and the Philly defense against Washington. This matchup is very interesting. I like some players from both sides, their matchups. Cheese has made that prediction about the Green Bay Minnesota game being a muckfest, bad for fantasy. He kind of needs it, as you know, Ernie has Addison and Dobbs. Aaron Jones, maybe you just get lucky and get 10 if it's a muckfest, and those both for Ernie's side don't do good. Obviously, that Lions game is going to be a huge one in this matchup. I think Cheese gets a huge bounce back from Goff, and Gibbs has another strong game, and I think that's the difference. I think it comes down to Monday night. I think Ernie's up maybe like 10 points on Monday night. He has Laporta versus Cheese's guys and defense, and I think Cheese with those three guys outdoes Ernie's Laporta on Monday night to make up the difference and get a close Monday night victory for Cheese and a big win for him to move him to 4-4. All right, Rat, who's winning?
I'm gonna say the same thing you just did. I think
Okay.
that it's gonna come down to Monday night, where Ernie has that lead. But this is what I'm gonna say: they're gonna forget to use Gibbs, and Cheese is gonna
okay.
lose points, and Ernie pulls out the win.
Ooh, okay, so you don't think Gibbs has a game and
Yeah,
Ernie holds on to
Monty
his
is
lead.
still out.
Okay.
Come on.
Yup.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, they
and they're
used
gonna
him
use
last
Craig
week.
Reynolds.
They used him
They'll use
last week.
Craig
They
Reynolds.
used Craig Reynolds played last week.
Okay.
You'll
Didn't do
see.
anything.
They'll use him
Interesting
more.
take there. All right. All right. Zombie, who's winning?
I'm going with my boy Cheese.
Okay. Wow.
Hmm.
All right. Split so far. All right. Pussy.
Cheese is not winning this game.
Oh. Okay.
Ernie is by a whopping 3 points.
3
It's going to be a
points.
good
Type.
matchup.
Yep. Okay.
Hunt's going to do Hunt. He's going to have his
Is
3
Hunt
weeks
even
of
playing?
greatness, and that's just going to be that. Jordan Addison looks great.
Yep.
Looks great. Who else in his lineup does Ernie have?
I mean,
Who's
we went
roster?
over the team: McCaffrey, Dobbs, Laporta, and at the moment he has Foreman in there.
Oh, I don't like Foreman.
Okay. So are you changing your pick to Cheese?
No,
or-
no, but
Okay.
Ernie's going to win by 3 points.
Okay.
One of these predictions is going to be dead on.
Okay. All right. All right. Cheese, are you gonna pull this one out, or is Ernie getting the better
I
of you?
really need to, because next week I
Yes.
lose, so I really need this win.
Yep. Okay.
Next week,
Once
could you play?
again, all my teams on a bye, so
Oh.
I'm fucked. I'll continue the pattern of winning then losing, then winning then losing. So
Okay.
I think the Lions will want a good bounce back week against the Raiders, who suck. Jones, I just need him to get any points. I'm not really counting on a lot from him.
Okay.
I'm hoping
This is
I'm
a
hoping
shit
my
show.
big wide receivers will have some solid games, so it doesn't come down to Monday night.
Pussy, I don't know why you're laughing. Your team is in the same type of shamble that
Yeah,
Cheese
I don't know
is
what
in.
you're laughing
Oh,
about.
it isn't. It isn't though. His team is
Okay.
My
like the
team is-
graveyard. His team's the
What?
graveyard.
I have Puka and
Graveyard.
CD Lamb and fucking.
I would argue
Lamb
his
has
wide
had a
receivers
shit
are
year.
miles ahead of yours, pussy.
That is true.
What are you
Jones is
talking
dead.
about?
Gibbs is dead. Goff looks like
Gibbs had
shit.
20
Okay,
last
your
week.
points
your running
last
backs
week.
might be better, but I'd say his wide receivers are miles ahead of yours.
Look. I need my big boy wide receivers have some solid games.
Yep.
I think Ayuk could be a check down guy for Darnold. Could be, just farm some points that way. And I think the Lions will avenge me on Monday night for a nice victory.
Okay.
Ernie's team has the possibility to pop off, but I'm hoping they use up all those touchdowns
Touchdowns last week. Yes, that's what I'll be interested to see.
Because his players, if you outside the touchdowns, they didn't do well.
That was
Like
my
Kareem
point.
Hunt
Yep.
Kareem Hunt had 31 yards.
Yep.
He's not Addison popped off. I'll give him that. Very good game, but
Yep.
Dobbs had one catch. Foreman's not going to do that again. So I'm hoping. I think it'll be a very close game, but I'm hoping my guys can get it done.
Okay.
I really need this win.
All right. Moving on to the final matchup of the week. This one is a big one just from the standpoint of some shit talk between the two. Pook at 3-4 versus Rat at 5-2. Rat's team has had huge weeks the last few weeks, most points scored. Will that continue this week? He has Mahomes against Denver, Could be very good again for the Chiefs stack. Jared Cook on Thursday night against Tampa Bay. Brees Hall back after his bye against the Giants, who have looked a little better on defense, but Brees Hall has also looked better the last couple weeks. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry against Philly. Tyreek Hill against the Patriots. We'll see if the Patriots have anything to offer to try to cover Tyreek Hill. I doubt it. Travis Kelce against Denver and DJ Moore against the Chargers. And the Jets defense against those Giants and Tyrod Taylor. Pook has Stroud coming back in against Carolina. Bijan Robinson against Tennessee. We'll see if he's no longer sick or if they fool again with him being out. I guess he's fully healthy because Sleeper doesn't have anything. Barkley against the Jets. Chris Olave, the speed man, against the Colts. We'll see if he can speed down the field and make some big plays for Pook. Mike Evans against Buffalo. Darren Waller against the Jets. Joshua Downs has looked very good. That's another waiver pickup by Pook. Pook's done very good with wide receivers on the waivers. He did the Nakua pickup and then Joshua Downs as well against the Saints. Boswell against Jacksonville, and Miami's defense, who he picked up against the Patriots. So he's thinking the Patriots will revert back to shit on offense. I actually think this matchup will be a lot closer than what Sleeper projects. I think Rat's 130 projection for his team this week is a little bit high. I don't think Rat will score the most points this week. I think his team will come back down to earth with a few of his matchups and a few of his players. I think the Chiefs stack will do good again. But I could see some players on Pook's team having a big game. I could see that Colts game being a sneaky shootout in the downs and Olave having some big games as well. Mike Evans on Thursday night could do decent. So I am going to predict Rat to win just because I don't know if Pook really needs Bijan to have a big game to have a chance to win and pull off this upset. I just don't know if he's going to get it, as they just do not continue to look like they're just going to full out use him like a McCaffrey style. And that's what he needs. He needs him to be the McCaffrey style this week to knock off Rat and his good players, and I just don't think it will happen. So I'm going to take Rat in a closer than what Sleeper has, though. Like 5-10 point matchup. Cheese, who's winning?
I'm gonna stick with Rat, but
Okay.
I agree it's gonna be very close. The Bills are gonna see that they lost with James Cook popping off and decide to not use him again because they're stupid.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill might not play, which could hurt him. But I
Okay,
still
yes.
think Rat is a very strong team. With Mahomes, Brees, Warren, Terry usually pretty solid. Mr. Pfizer.
Well,
I don't. Pook's team's okay. I don't know. I don't believe in Mr. Speed Limit or Darren Waller to have good games. So,
Whoa.
okay.
I think it'll be closer,
Yep.
but Rat's gonna definitely pull it out.
Okay, interesting. Also, the team name sending Pook to 3-5. Rat better do that, or else that's some bad karma there, bad juju. All right, Pussy, who's winning this matchup?
So this matchup, Pook is actually going to lose by probably around 26 points. It's going to be pretty much an
That's an
ass whooping the
exact
entire
number.
day.
26. Where are you getting
your
that
app-
number from?
Is your app back up?
No, 26 points I'm going to project on this.
Okay.
So I think Pook is going to lose, but he's going to have good news by, somebody's getting traded, like Barkley could be traded, or
They
Henry
already
gets
said
traded.
Barkley's not going to get
Barkley's
traded.
not getting
but-
traded.
Okay, the coach said it, but
Barkley said it himself.
Yeah.
For some reason, really likes it.
But
there,
there's
so-
going to be a trade or something, an injury that
Okay.
happens that
well, maybe
gonna
it's
be
the Derrick
positive
Henry
news
trade,
for
and then he
Pook.
can play
Yeah.
Spears.
could
That
be,
would benefit. Okay.
That's what I see.
Okay. So, but he's losing by 26 exactly. Okay. All right,
He's losing by
Zombie.
26, yeah.
I can't wait till I beat Matt and Pook beats Fake
Wow.
Rat, and I will be in first place.
The
Okay,
enemy of your
yep.
enemy is your friend this week, as Zombie never roots for Pook to win, and he is this week, though. All right, Rat, are you putting up the most points this week in the league again, and are you beating Pook more importantly?
I think the streak comes to an end, putting up the most
Ooh,
points,
okay.
but I still beat Pook by a good margin. Bijan, after 30 points, is playing one of the harder run defenses, so that's going to suck. and I don't think he's going to perform. And Pook's going to have nightmares of why he didn't select CMC.
Yep.
And Brees Hall is going to outscore both, not together combined, but he will have more points than either Barkley and Robinson. Mahomes and Kelsey are just going to give me that 25 each.
So you
Tyreek Hill,
believe Tyreek Hill is going to play or not?
Even if he doesn't, I'll still beat him. And that's
Mm,
where
okay.
the
Wow.
coming into the factor of me not putting up the most points is if
So
Tyreek
let's
Hill
just see. If
doesn't play.
Tyreek Hill doesn't play, then let's look at your bench here. Oof. Dalvin Cook,
Uh,
Reynolds,
I would put
Berrios.
Barrios
So
I
you're
in.
mean,
going to
Daryl
play
Henderson was
Berrios.
decent.
I
Daryl
would.
Henderson was
They're
decent.
playing Dallas, though.
I'm
Dallas
not
doesn't
playing
give up
him
much.
against Dallas. I think Barrios
Elijah
will give
Moore,
me a
but no
solid 8
quarterback.
to 10.
Hey, you go back to your second chances, Tony.
Okay. Okay, he can wait still. His
Oh,
second chance will
wow.
come down the
When are
road.
you going to give him his second chance?
We'll see what happens. Maybe on bye weeks.
Well, this
I'll
would
have
be
to
the
fit him
perfect
in.
week to give him his second
Yeah,
chance when you need him the most.
I still think I win, even if Tyreek doesn't play. That's where the factor of most points
Damn, you should really
comes
take
in.
that name
But
off of
I'll
Tony
still
if
beat
you're
Pook.
not giving him his second chance. Okay.
I'll still beat.
All right. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna amend my prediction real quick. If Tyreek Hill doesn't play,
Okay.
Pook is going to win because
Okay.
Rat has been feeling himself. Obviously, he should because he's 5-2 and he's been scoring a lot of points the last few weeks. But all good things in fantasy find a way to shake out. I mean, after the first 3 weeks, I was feeling great about my team with Justin Jefferson, and then Justin Jefferson got a long injury. So if Tyreek Hill's out this week, I think Rat finally gets a little
He can
karma
rest up
feeling
if he
of,
wants.
okay, when you don't have your best players, what your team actually looks like.
I still have my best players.
Okay. All right. Interesting. We'll see what
I'll take
happens there.
Kelsey, you get
Okay,
Tyreek Hill.
now that we've gone through the matchups, good luck to
I do want to
everybody
mention
this week.
one thing. If Rat
Yes.
loses, we will see a lot of shitty trades because
Oh,
he'll blow it up.
wow.
I
If
will
Rat
not be
loses, he will
trading.
blow it
I
up.
Wow,
promise.
that
He
is a
will
big
nuke
statement there. I like that.
He
I wanna
loves to
make a
nuke.
statement on
He
that.
will nuke his team.
Okay.
I
Slaps
want
will
to
be
make a
involved.
statement on
Oh,
that.
okay.
I
Yes.
If I do lose, which I'm not gonna lose, the only thing that's happening is Cheese's team will not. Cheese will not have one player from his active roster after this week.
What?
So you're saying you're going to
Cheese
make
is-
a trade with Cheese?
No, Cheese is nuking everything after his
I
loss
am
to
not
Ernie.
nuking everything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You
All right,
need
interesting.
to.